Hello guys, welcome to Angular tutorials for the beginners. So in a last video tutorial we have understand what is component of Angular, how to create the component and how to use that component in Angular HTML with n number of times. Now in this video tutorial we are going to understand the Angular component which will gives us the better way of writing or putting any template of Angular HTML to our app components. So let us do understand with this. Basically, there are three types of Angular components we will have. One is called as inline style Angular component. The second is called as inline template component, and third one which is combination of this both, that is inline style and template component. So what are these types exactly belongs to? Likewise, whenever we are going to create a component, in the last video tutorial also we have understand what if I am going to create a component. So I will be having the four different files into this. One file is of CSS based, which means the style of that components are going to be stored into the CSS. Other file is HTML based, which means whatever the HTML tags for that related to the components we will have, we are going to put it here. Other file is for testing spec.ts, and the backend TypeScript file also getting generated, which means four files for every components are getting generated. But let us do understood a scenario. Let us say I know in my code I am not using that much CSS files. I have some couple of classes to write. I know that already. Well, in that case, why to create that extra files of CSS and like putting our memory for that respective component? So we should go with the inline styles. So whenever you knows that you are having some couple of CSS to write, you should create a component using inline style. Like the same, if you knows that you don't want to write more HTML codes, you have some certain block of codes to write, then you should go with inline template. And if you are having both of these things combined together, then you should go with inline style and template together. So let us do understood them via the one single example. So the first example I am going to create for inline style, and what we have understood right away is what, like whenever I have some couple of CSS to write, then I should go with inline style, which means the separate CSS file for that component is not getting created. Now the question arises how we can able to create the inline style component in Angular. So let us try to make them create here. So I'm going to open the terminal to create the new component, and here I'm going to write the command as ngGC, okay, G for generate, C for component, and let us say I'm going to create here component 1, and as it's inline style, so I have to mention space and hyphen hyphen inline hyphen style, which means this component is going to create only with the templates and the backend and testing file. You guys can see, moreover, when the component is got created, four files are getting created, but as hence we have written hash hyphen hyphen inline style, so it is not going to create the CSS file separately. Then where we should have to provide that CSS, we can provide the CSS using TypeScript file. So let us do understood them by opening the component. So here I'm going to open that component first in HTML, and I'm just going to write some code. Instead of this paragraph, I'm going to put in a H3, and I just wanted to print that inline style component. Now I have to given this style to this H3, and as you guys can see, as we have to write only a couple of CSS classes, so no separate CSS file is getting generated. Well, in that case, where we should have to put that CSS file, so you can open that component.ts file, the respective component, and in this you guys can see the styles array. by default, if any components got created, likewise, let us open app.component.ts file. So here you guys can see a style URL because one separate file is getting created for the same. But as hence one separate file is not getting created at here, so we have this styles URL, and in this array block you can mention your style by the backcode. So this is the backcode symbol, and I'm going to provide some styles to this. Let us say for this h3 I'm going to provide a class of css, let us say right. Now let us save them. Okay, let's get back here and write that class. Okay, dot custom. Why I'm writing the dot? Because it's a user defined class, so I have to write css, like I have to provide their width to the 100%. I'm going to provide some paddings, let us say 10 pixels. Again, I'm going to provide the background color. Okay, background color, let us say in this case is blue. Then I'm going to change the text color also, let us say that is white, and text alignment also I'm going to change it to the center. So all these CSS classes I have mentioned in the style attribute, those can be get applied to this component where the custom class is got written and it can be shown. Well, to show with this, in app.component.html I have to add their selector. What is the selector for this? You can go here, and this is the selector app hyphen component one. Let us add that selector here, app hyphen component one. Now let us save and check the output. So you guys can see as per the style that we have given, okay, text color white, background color blue. As far as the h3 center, it all appears correctly. Okay, this is what for inline style component. Now again the same concept applies for inline template component. What is inline template component? Whenever you knows that you don't want to require a complete HTML file. Okay, I'm going to close this. And I don't want to require the complete HTML file. I know that some certain HTML codes are going to be there, so I'm going to create them using inline template. How to create them? Let us check the syntax. So I'm going to create a component here as component 2. So ngGC, that is component 2, and the style is hyphen hyphen inline hyphen template. So if I'm using a hyphen template, so it is going to create the template file, and there itself we don't have the proper HTML file. Again, to write the HTML code in the component.ts, there itself we are going to write. So let us make them create. So it is going to create again 3 more files. One is CSS file, you guys can see, one is backend file, and one is testing file. So let us now expand the component 2. So in a component 2 we have this component.ts, and as you guys can see we have template, but in last the proper component we should have template URL, because we have the separated files over to there. But right now we are writing at inline. So again I'm going to change with this paragraph to h3 tags, and here I'm going to mention some text, let us say that is inline template component, and also I have to provide some classes to that. So the class I'm going to add it here as name as custom, and this custom component to CSS I have to write it by their own CSS file. So let us write the same. So this custom class, first I'm going to do is I'm going to provide a margin from top, let's say 20 pixels. Then I'm going to write the width as 100%. Then background color also I'm going to change. Let us change it to blue violet. Okay, fore color I'm going to change it to white, and also we are going to add some padding, let us say 10 pixels, and this text align I'm going to put it to the center. Right, now let us apply this component to our HTML so that we can able to see that. So app component 2, now let us check this. So this is what the template inline component with the same styles and width we got created successfully. Now let us say you guys are having this both of the conditions together, that is what inline style and template component that you have to form, which means again we knows that we have to write some certain HTML codes and we have to write some certain CSS classes also. In that case, you can create a component with inline style and template. And how we can able to create with them? So again, the syntax I am going to be followed. Ngc, let us say that is component 3, and as both of the type of components I have to write, so first I have to mention the first one, that is inline hyphen style, then space hyphen hyphen inline hyphen template. Now let us hit an enter. So as you guys can see, we are creating in a combination. So we probably don't have the proper CSS file and we probably don't have the proper HTML file. Now let me show you this. So I'm going to be expand this component 3, and here you guys can see we have only the component.ts and component.spec.ts file. Well, to add that all the elements, you can apply it from this component.ts @component decorator. So here again I'm going to be write template as h3. Let us say, okay, let me close this 3 also. So in the h3 I'm going to be mention that is what inline style and template component. So same style I'm going to write in the style URL. So let us provide a class here. So class is of custom, and here in a custom classes, let us define them with the backcode. Backcode is really very important here. So dot custom, and inside the custom, okay, let me delete this, I do not require this right now. So inside the custom, I'm going to be work with that ranges. Okay, so I have to provide that classes. Let me get it copied from here. Margin top we required. I'm going to change the background color so that I can able to make them identical. So let us change that background color to, let me write the property background color to, let us say, red, and text color white, we are going to put it the same. Now let us apply that changes to the app component here so that we can able to see by their selector name, and selector name in my case is app component 3. Now you guys can see this is inline style and template component, this is inline template component, and this is inline style component. Let us recap all the things that we have understood. So the components in Angular provides the code consistency. The code consistency will help us to not write all the codes in an entire file, and that is the reason in the types of components we have 3 different types. Okay, inline style component, which will be using when we knows that we have some certain couple of CSS classes are to be uses, so we should go with inline style component for that respective component. So inline template component uses only when we knows that we have some certain HTML blocks to write, then we are going to use as inline template component. And when we knows all both of the things together, like as we know we have some certain CSS classes to write and certain HTML code to mention, then we should go with inline style and component, template component right there. So in inline style component, we don't have proper CSS file. In inline template component, we don't have proper HTML file, and inline style and template component, we don't have CSS and the HTML files available. All the codes we have to write in the TS by their own of arrays. So if you guys have understood with these types of component, give us the thumbs up. That will be a big motivation for us. And if you are new to our channel, kindly subscribe to our channel, share to the needful people. Thanks for watching this video.